I dedicate my presentation to the love, courage, and steadfastness of the people of Ukraine in their defense of their homeland. This is the title page. It is a pictorial description of my journey from life as a young priest to that of an aging village elder. The purpose of this presentation is to reflect upon the evolution of personal spirituality motivations that parallel significant socio-cultural knowledge shifts of the last 2 to 3 centuries. In this, I am a microcosmic expression of major spirituality motivational changes in the global village. I was ordained as a Roman Catholic priest in 1963. My spirituality and motivations were fully within the training and structures of organized religion. Now, in 2025, 62 years later, while continuing as a practicing Catholic, I am a global village elder on the outer boundaries of dogmatic Catholicism, with significant adherence to evolutionary theory, a commitment to gender equity, and a primary focus on love as the creator sourced energy propelling an ever evolving universe. In reflecting upon the 87 years of evolution of my personal life experiences, studies, teaching, research, and service, the following, not in any necessary order, are the sources of major spirituality motivating elements: evolutionary theory, quantum physics, biology, chemistry, neurology, philosophy, cosmology, theology, and spirituality. Theory expressed in the holistic paradigm. Clinical social work participation in healthcare, community development, and the HIV/AIDS epidemic locally, nationally, and internationally. Application of the holistic paradigm to healthcare. Spirituality motivations from the perspective of the holistic paradigm, global scriptures, and mysticism. Second half enterprises and a personal framework for living. On transitioning from priestly practice in the early 70s, I assumed roles in healthcare administration, clinical practice, university teaching, research, and service. In the mid-70s and early 80s, through studies, I experienced significant paradigm shift changes. The spirituality and motivational consequences of these changes, together with the HIV/AIDS epidemic, became the practical foundation for creation of a mandate depicting a unitary, holistic paradigm. HIV/AIDS is a virus-rooted physiological disease. In the early 1980s, the physiological causes of HIV/AIDS was unknown. There were no physical medicine cures, only symptom treatments. The definition of a system is inserted here. Systems are integrated wholes that cannot be reduced to smaller units. Once the virus was scientifically identified, it was the social systems of various cultures with policies affecting personal, family, and community relationships that allowed HIV to become the epidemic that it was and that it continues to be. Societal attitudes and legal systems criminalizing homosexuality and injection drug use created underground subcultures that served as pathways for the virus. Prevention of the spread of HIV/AIDS was entirely dependent on issues in human relationships and in social systems. With no physical medicine cures, people with HIV/AIDS and their caregivers relied on medicines that treated symptoms and healthy living supports that provided social, psychological, and spiritual help from these systems. Concerted intervention efforts from all four system sectors were essential to any hope of survival or of prolonging life. Notice the definition of a whole: an undivided unity within which systems are the interactive relationships whose properties cannot be reduced to smaller units. A whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Within the spiritual systems, true human equality motivates love, mercy, and compassion in prevention, care, and treatment. Meditation, prayer, faith, and hope serve in prevention, care, and treatment. Inclusive love is essential to people who, by prejudice and policy, are pushed to the outer fringes of society. Such is the case in HIV/AIDS. This slide presents an integration of the systems identified on previous slides. It is a two-dimensional pictorial representation of holographic realities from which we can consider persons, families, and communities. Persons, families, and communities from the perspective of health and wellness, illness and injury, the interdependence of environmental systems, and the purposes of human life, such as achieving life's goals, to work, to love. Consistent with systems theory, I have formulated two principles. All adaptations, whether manifested physiologically, psychologically, spiritually, or socially, can have origin in all and or any sectors of the person and environment hologram. The second principle: interventions into and or changes in adaptation may have origin in and or expressions from any and or all system sectors of the person and environment hologram. In July 1997, at age 59, I retired as an emeritus professor at the University of Calgary. As a guide, I created a personal plan that I called Second Half Enterprises. I would be an elder in the global village, an elder as identified with elder in the culture of our native peoples. I would be available to share my knowledge and life experiences. I would no longer work. I would do good things. It is now 28 years later. This slide presents a picture of my desk, where I spend many hours each day. Using the 3 monitors, I manage the investments that sustain our family. In my mind, giving employment to the people of the world. Behind the center monitor is an 86-inch television that helps me to be present at key historical events in the global village, plus giving me a private box seat at international sporting events. The monitors on the left and the right, top and bottom, have 4 inscriptions that summarize second half enterprises. They state my vision, purpose, objectives, and outcomes. These headings summarize the activities that express my spiritual beliefs, values, and motivations. My personal vision is to assist in the evolution of the universe. The universe, in its consciousness, spirituality, is a love energy mass eruption within isness. Evolution is mindful, purposeful, and ever increasing complexity, with consciousness, spirituality at its pinnacle. Human consciousness, spirituality will continue its evolutionary processes, and in this, we also are evolving. We are co-creators, partners in this evolution with rights and responsibilities to realize potential in ourselves, our planet, and beyond. Behold, I make all things new. My purpose is to invest personal energy and resources in human progress development. My objectives are to manifest universal energy as expressed in love and being loved. The expected outcomes are manifested in the ultimate ends of evolutionary purposefulness, which I here describe as new heavens and a new earth. To conclude, this slide is a picture of my wife, myself, and our children with their partners. The second picture is our backyard, box garden, and city view. Finally, permit me to repeat the slides with which I concluded last year's presentation. Someday, after mastering winds, tides, and gravity, we shall harness God for the energies of love, and then, for the second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire. Thank you for the opportunity to present the evolution of my spirituality and motivations.